Oh, hi, Eliza. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, of course. How are you?
Good, thanks. And you?
I'm hanging in.
Hanging in. And how old is Ben right now?
He is 6 weeks.
Awesome. Feeding like a champ. We were just chatting.
Always.
Always. So Eliza is feeding while we're going to do this quick interview. So we're going to just jump right into it. So do you want to just start by telling me why you decided to join the Babes and Bellies boot camp?
So with my first pregnancy, I gained a lot of weight, which wasn't really the end of the world at the time. Well, I lost most of the weight by the end of the first year, but I still had that like mom pooch. And it took me a few years to realize that it was due to, the muscle separation. And then so when I started to think about maybe having another kid, I looked into how do I heal that muscle separation. So I did a program to do that, and I got into really, really good shape. And at the end of the 3-month program, I was already pregnant again. And so looking back, I didn't want to repeat the same, not mistakes, but the same situation that I found myself in for my first pregnancy. And I wanted to make sure that I was just healthier this time around. If I could do anything to minimize the weight that I was going to gain. My first pregnancy, I gained like over 70 pounds. And I didn't want to do that my second pregnancy. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to do more damage to my muscles and things like that, and just stay in the best shape that I could be to have a healthy baby.
That's awesome. And what, if you don't mind me asking, how much weight did you gain this pregnancy?
I still gained way more than I should have, but I only gained 50 this time.
Did you feel happier with that outcome?
I do. I didn't look like I gained 70, and I don't think I looked like I gained 50 this time around. But I'm glad to have not quite gained as much.
Right. And so on sort of like as a segue from that, how did the program help you?
Helped me stay active. I felt much stronger. For my first pregnancy, I wasn't able to move around very much pretty early in the pregnancy, but this time around, I was more mobile. Things weren't as difficult. Like I didn't really have a difficulty like bending down and putting socks on until like the last couple weeks. My first pregnancy, my stomach just hung out so far. Like I was showing by the time I was 8 weeks, and I really think it was because I had a very weak core,
Mm-hmm.
and my stomach just couldn't keep baby inside my body. But
Mm-hmm.
the second time after doing the program, my bump was much smaller. I think because I had just a stronger core that was able to kind of just keep everything in. So,
And I think for you, having looked at some photos of your first pregnancy versus your second pregnancy, and obviously there's a little bit of a difference in fetal positioning there, which makes a difference, but it's actually quite drastic.
yeah, it's
Good.
interesting.
You
Yeah.
put
And
in a
even,
lot of, you can tell you put in a lot of work.
yeah. And then when I got to the hospital, when I was in labor and I was at the hospital, a few of the nurses were like, "Are you full term? You have a very small bump."
That felt like a bit of a win, I guess.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Eliza, is your biggest takeaway from the Babes and Bellies bootcamp program?
I think that it's just important to stay active during your pregnancy. When I told a couple of friends when I was going to continue working out during my pregnancy, and a lot of them were shocked that that was even allowed. And it surprised me. Actually, there's a few people that I've told, because I was always getting the comments like, "Oh, you're so small. Your bump's so small." I'm just like, "Well, I'm working out. I have a strong core, I guess." And so many people didn't know that you could do core workouts. Just the importance of staying in shape and maintaining your health and your fitness as much as possible. I feel much better this time around than I did after my first pregnancy.
That's amazing. I really love to hear that. That's like music to my ears. And then how do you think the program helped you prepare for birth and labor, if at all?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I can't say. You hear that births are so different one from the other. And so my experience this time around was definitely very different. But I believe in theory, that my pelvic floor was much stronger, my core was stronger. And I think my body, in addition to it being my second pregnancy, and I've already done this, and there's muscle memory, and all those things. But I think my body was just way more prepared and ready to give birth.
And do you think that the program has helped you postpartum at all? I mean, you're still early days, and you did mention you feel better this time than you did last. Like, do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
I mean, it's difficult. My first pregnancy, I was induced, and I had a really long labor. And so I bled for a long time postpartum. I think I bled for like 8 weeks, my first pregnancy.
Okay.
This time around, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And my first pregnancy, again, I don't know if it's just like it was a new experience, but I felt like it took me a long time to be able to just be a normal person and get outside. And I went to a wedding like 10 days after I gave birth. I feel 100% normal already. I think at around 4 weeks, I was just like, I'm fine. I didn't give birth. I'm fine. And so I think it has a lot to do with just, staying in shape. And I haven't bounced back physically. Obviously, I have a lot of weight to lose still and things to work on, but
And it's still early days.
yeah, but I feel like I'm totally fine.
That's good. Happy to hear that. And is there anything else that you'd like to add, or any other messages you'd want to send to kind of expectant moms who are thinking about trying to stay fit?
One thing that I struggled with in the program is just kind of staying on top of doing the exercises every day. And you and I kind of talked about that. And I realized, through your help that I would miss one day and then I would feel like I blew it. And then I would be very discouraged, or I couldn't get through the whole workout. And so I'd feel like that day didn't count. Any little bit that you can put in is huge. And so there were weeks where I only got, 20 minutes in one day, or, I got 10 minutes in that week. But just that little bit, I think, makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's getting away from that all or nothing mentality where still doing something, even if it's for short periods of time consistently, still has a lot of weight, and can still help you in the long run.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, Eliza, for chatting. And thanks for your time. And congratulations on the arrival of Ben.
Thank you.